Hello and welcome to Talking Siege. We're back for episode 55. Tonight we have some very exciting stuff to talk about because, of course, the sixth major Raleigh is just around the corner. In a couple of hours, in fact, it will be starting. So we're going to talk all about that tonight. For those of you who are new to our channel, this is Rainbow Six ANZ. This is the Rainbow Six Twitch and YouTube channel. Or if you're watching the audio version afterwards, then welcome. For the ANZ region, that's Australia and New Zealand. So Ubisoft Australia and ourselves, me, Dev, Sky, and Cthulhu, we organise this Talking Siege show every week where we talk about the latest and greatest Rainbow Six news, whether it's local from ANZ or from the rest of the world. And that will be the main focus of tonight because, of course, as I mentioned, we're going to be going all on about Raleigh. So usually we talk a little bit about the game updates at the start, then we go on to esports. At the end, we round it out with community stuff. But today we're just going to quickly touch on some new game content and then move on to a huge monster-packed section about Raleigh. So without further ado, Cthulhu, what's new on the Rainbow Six side of things?
All right, so on the Rainbow Six side of things, we have three headlines. One is the National Cats Day, so you get 20 kills in multiplayer to get a wooden cat charm. The challenge is still up for another 3 days for everyone to get those 20 kills. We also have the new Capitao called K Bundle? K Bundle?
Key. I think it's Kia, I think.
Key, yeah, cool. Sweet, thank you, Dev. Makes Capitao look very snazzy and very classy as well, just to flex on all of your opposing team whilst you're dobbing them in the head with a power. And then we also have the announcement that Ubisoft and ESL made about the sixth major rally coming up, that if you watch it from the official channels and you have your Ubisoft account linked with Twitch, you are able to get the charms dropped based off the viewing time, I believe.
So you've got the different ranks for the different charms. And as you mentioned, for those wondering, you just have to make sure that your account is linked. You don't have to type anything in chat.
Yeah, so no exclamation mark charms, none of that. Link your Uplay account and you're Gucci. But that is all this time for the in-game news. I will though throw over to you, Dev, because we have some saucy discussions to get into.
Yeah, and I guess before we get too deep into Raleigh, anyone who's in chat right now across the various channels, make sure that if you do have any things that you want us to talk about in regards to Raleigh, if it's a specific team you want to talk about or something else going on, feel free to dump a question in chat because we're going to be reading through those. We'll try to respond to those as we go as well. I already see a lot of familiar faces in there as well, so it's great for you guys. Great to see you guys returning and to all our new viewers as well. Welcome. But let's get into Raleigh. So the first thing that we were going to talk about is there's been a slight roster change with one of the Pro League teams. Team Lestream, formerly known as Lestream, then changed their name to Looking for Org because they departed with their organization. And now they've been picked up by the Vodafone Giants, which is pretty exciting for the number two team currently in the European Pro League, who's had a lot of success in previous seasons, finally found a new home, and they will be representing Vodafone Giants at the major itself. And that's really what we're talking about today. So at midnight Australian Eastern Standard Time or 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is the local time zone for Raleigh, I believe, tonight or today, depending on depending on where in the world you are, it's very confusing with time zones. This is all going to kick off. So it's a six major Raleigh, 500 grand US dollars is up for grabs for the best 16 teams in the world, or so you might think. And they're going to be playing off in this. It's divided into four groups, each with four teams, and the best two out of each group makes it onto playoffs, which is on the main stage on the weekend. So 3 days of groups is what we've got to get through. And I guess let's touch on just a little bit of what that actually looks like in terms of the teams that are competing and such. So I've got this beautiful little graphic for you guys, which shows the matches that are happening. I want to say tonight, but I know people on the other side of the globe it's today, so.
Let's call it tonight, for the sake of ANZ.
Yeah, it is Rainbow Six ANZ after all on this stream. So yeah, this is the matches happening tonight. So there's going to be two streams: the Rainbow Six twitch.tv/Rainbow Six stream, also broadcast of course on all the other regular channels, YouTube, and twitch.tv/Rainbow Six Bravo is the B stream, where you'll also be seeing the same number of matches. Kicking it off here, I want to know, is there any particular match you're particularly excited for? Because I know, especially when you're from down under and you've got to decide, no, I can't necessarily stay awake from 12 a.m. till 9 a.m. the next day. You've got to pick and choose. So what's your highlight for tonight, guys?
I'll be absolutely honest with you, Dev. I'm tempted to binge it. I'm tempted to binge it, and the 4 matches that I'll be tuning in, like, I'll have them open on the main monitor. Empire TSM, G2 CAG, Fnatic Dark Zero, and Norm versus MIBR. BR. I butchered that at the end. Because it's a, for me, like, personally, it's like a nearly religious experience. Like, you need to experience at least one of those, like, viewing parties to just fully experience the online viewing of the major, because all of those, like, no matter what kind of game it is, no matter what kind of discipline it is, it's always an absolute blast to watch them.
Sky, I know you've been looking out for Space Station.
Yeah, I made a bold prediction last week, some would say, putting my money on Space Station, and I'm gonna stick with that. And as for what match I'll be staying up and watching, or rather going to sleep and then getting up and watching, will be the Fnatic game. It starts at 6 a.m. AEST, so only like a little bit earlier than what I normally get up at. So, you know, just some slight adjustments, and we'll be able to watch the game live, and then we can also see SSG beat Giants and go to victory.
Bold claims here for Giants with the new org. We've seen some new org rattles before when Cloud9 played at the APAC LAN right after they got picked up. They didn't do so well. Who knows? Maybe we'll see the same for the Giants. I don't know, it's really hard to pick any specific match on day one for me, because the way I see day one is we're kind of setting the scene. Because each of these groups, which I'll bring up the groups right now, each of these groups is displayed as a double elimination. So you'll have Team A plays Team B, Team C plays Team D on day one, and then tomorrow night we'll have the losers play each other, and the winner of that match then still has another life. But if you lose tonight and you lose tomorrow, you are out of the entire major. The whole tournament, that's it. And you'll just have to sit the rest. A bit of a holiday in North Carolina for the rest of the week. But so tomorrow night is going to be a knockout match for each group, and also a first place match for each group. So whoever wins tonight then goes and plays tomorrow in the first place match, and then the winner of that match then goes straight onto the stage, first seed. So they get a couple of rest days before they have to play in their quarterfinal on Friday or Saturday, our time. It's hard to wrap your head around. So I feel like the first day, there are no elimination matches. There's no, okay, this team's going to go to the stage, but it is setting the scene. We kind of get a feel for, okay, you know, let's say, for example, our looking for org. We know they're a really good team online, but they just don't show up on LAN. If they come out of the gate and start to really make an impact, this is actually an on graphic because they're looking for org, not displayed as Giants. Let's say they come out and they stomp Space Station, which Sky doesn't want to see. Maybe that'll kind of tell the story for how they're going. So I don't know. Day one for me is really just showing us what's going to happen, and set the stage for the rest of the days. I gotta say though, like after tonight, where are we expecting the tomorrow night's matches to be? Who's going to be fighting for their life in that elimination match tomorrow? Any bets?
Sky, how about you go first?
Look, if you want me to go, I feel like I'll go through the games and I'll do quick fire, rapid fire. Who I think is going to win. I'll say all right. First match: Empire versus TSM. Gonna say Empire. Those guys won Milan. Good on them. I think they'll continue in with that form. EG versus NIP. I'm gonna have to go with EG. Hopefully they can pull something off. Fnatic versus Dark Zero. Gonna have to go with Fnatic. They're the Aussie favourites. Norango again. APAC favourites. Gonna have to go with them. Rogue versus Team Secret. I'm gonna have to go with Rogue there. Those guys won DreamHack Valencia, I think it was. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah. And Secret won the LA Esports minor, so they both won recent minors.
Yeah, so it'll be a close one, but I'm gonna put my money on Rogue. G2 versus Cyclops. Gonna say Cyclops because again APAC. Let's go. Space Station versus Giants. I'm gonna have to say Space Station. FaZe versus Fours. I actually saw someone on Twitter earlier. I can't recall exactly who it was, but they noted this to be the match of the day. So a lot of people predicting both Force and FaZe to be very, very close contenders. So I feel like it's really anyone's game. It'll be quite an interesting game to watch.
I'd probably go pretty much for the matches that are going to be broadcasted on Rainbow Six. I probably agree with all of those predictions with you, Sky. Albeit that on Rainbow Six Bravo, the Rogue versus Secret, I'd call for Secret really here. G2 CAG, look, I'm faithful to APAC, but this one is just like realistically looking, G2 has the upper hand in this one, unfortunately. Albeit that I am definitely expecting at the very least for CAG to take a map off G2. Giants versus Space Station. I'm gonna call Space Station on this one. FaZe versus Force. Tempted to say Force, but let's go with FaZe.
All right, I'm gonna chuck in my 2 cents here. I'm just gonna kind of go a little bit all over the place. So kicking it off,
oh boy,
Space Station and Giants. I think you guys are underrating Giants here. Look,
right.
I know that they've had a bit of land jitters every other time they've played, but they have looked so good so far in the EU Pro League, especially this season. They haven't dropped a game except to G2, who is, of course, as we know, the current reigning world champions. The other match that they got very close was against Empire, and they drew that one. So, look, Space Station had a great performance at Invitational, but in the Pro League, maybe not so great recently. They've had some roster changes in the last 6 months or so. I think Giants, not called LFO anymore, Giants definitely looking to be a strong side. I wouldn't count them out, and I would expect them to make it out of their group. I think at the Invitational, when we didn't see their team formerly known as the Stream make it out of their group, I think a lot of people were surprised, and that was one of the bigger upsets of the whole Invitational itself. So, well, time will tell. That definitely could go either way. I'm feeling I might be Giants favored here. As for some of the other matches, Empire TSM, obviously Empire is the favorite for many people going into this entire event, but TSM have had some really good performances recently, not in the Pro League. They've been pretty poor in the Pro League, but in the they're actually with a team who came through the North American qualifier to make it to this event. They beat out some very strong competition, including the likes of Space Station. So I wouldn't count them out just yet, but I've got to say, the match that I think is actually potentially very close in this whole day, well, there's Fnatic and Darkseid, that's going to be a barn burner.
Yeah.
But also Evil Genius is not Ninjas in Pajamas. Ninjas in Pajamas is currently on top of the Latin American Pro League, and they did make top 4 as well in BR6. And we've seen EG slip as well. So we're finally at a major in North America. Again, like the Invitational, Evil Genius has toppled at the 6th Invitational this year to Reciprocity of all teams. Do we really think that it's going to be a write-off and that they'll take over NIP? I don't know. What do you guys reckon?
I'm definitely calling this will be a 3-map match. Most definitely. This won't be a 2-0 by far.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point that you bring up there, Dev, and I agree with Cthulhu, and I think it's going to be a close match. I've still got to put my money on EG though. Those guys surely have to pull through at some point, and just got to hope that this is going to be the time.
One day.
One day. But completely off topic, but I'm actually getting very, very hard Penta versus Mantis FPS vibes from the season 3 finals. Was it?
Yeah. With you mean with the G2 Cyclops game?
Yeah, with the G2 Cyclops game, I'm getting I'm getting a very similar vibe. Not in how it's going to play out, because I didn't play out too well for Mantis back in the day, but I feel like, I don't know, that's sort of the match. It sort of feels like you've got this sort of dark horse versus G2, which is one of the best teams in the world.
Well, it's funny, really. G2 seems to have a tendency of always coming up against the most underdog of underdog APAC teams whenever it comes to a major. At the 6th Invitational this year, G2 was playing against Cloud9, formerly known as Mantis. And that was a match where Mantis took a whole map, and they actually, I can't remember if they took the whole map, but they did really, really well.
I think they did. I think took Clubhouse. Right?
Yeah, I think I remember that one. And, man, G2 was running amok on that map. And, really, they were messy compared to what we saw from C9. And Cyclops honestly looked really good. Really, really good at the APAC qualifier for this event. And I think that of all of the teams at this event, people mostly say, oh, super underrated team is someone like Force, because, they played really well against Empire in the Russian national tournament. But I think that the most underrated team of this entire event is Cyclops. And I'm fully happy with my APAC bias coming into that statement, because that's just how it is. But I firmly believe that Cyclops is hugely underrated. My prediction for Cyclops' group, which is Cyclops, G2, Rogue, and Team Secret, my prediction for Group B is G2 and Cyclops. Well, what do you guys think? Do you think Rogue and Secret are going to let that happen?
Sky, you go first.
I guess I'd ask you, Dev, what makes you feel like Cyclops have that potential to upset these teams like Rogue and Secret?
To me, it's the fact that Cyclops... I think the big thing that they have going for them is that they aren't a team that everyone is talking about. The more that you talk about a team, everyone's like, okay, we got to study for that team. We got to prepare for that team. A little bit like Empire now. I feel like everyone's knows how Empire plays. Everyone's been studying Empire. Everyone wants to do their homework. They know that everyone's thinking about Empire. Coming into the APAC qualifier for this event, I'm pretty sure it was August told me when they beat C9 and they came up against Cyclops in the grand final, they said, yeah, we did all of our prep for Airwolf, so we don't know how to play against Cyclops. And that didn't turn out so well for them. Mind you, August got very close, but I wouldn't be surprised that if Rogue and Secret, to me, they are very close teams. They're very tight-knit. Both teams have been around for a very long time. They've done very well. Team Secret's won 2 minors now, and Rogue's won 1 minor and the US Nationals. So they've teams who have been around for a really long time, but they've also fallen from grace. And I think that they'll be targeting each other. They'll be thinking, okay, we really need to beat the other one of those. And G2 looks beatable at the moment too, so we can study for them, we can counter them, and we can beat them as well. If they're not focusing too much on Cyclops, I think that'll be a huge help for Cyclops, because they do have a very unpredictable playstyle for a lot of these teams, especially as the current state of the meta, especially in EUs, is much more slower paced than what Cyclops usually brings us, much less frag-centric. I think that's definitely something that the Japanese could have up their sleeves.
Yeah. Well, we saw time and time that the Japanese teams were being the big surprise of the tournament. So I wouldn't be surprised if CAG would just pull off some mad plays and just pull off something absolutely nutty and just pull off some big upsets as well. So I'm more than keen to witness that, honestly. And considering it's G2, who, like, a fair few people have been saying, yeah, they're kind of dropping down on their pace, having issues qualifying for like the top spots for the Pro League finals occasionally. I mean, everything can really happen here, considering even the fact that they are the standing champions within the major. So, hey, I'd say CAG have all the chances they have, really.
I guess when you look at it like that, CAG sort of have nothing to lose, whereas G2 have everything to lose. So it could make for a really interesting match.
Yeah. I think that CAG actually got to be pretty happy with the group that they got put into. Obviously, they've got G2, current world champions. Yeah, it's never going to be easy, but I think that we're looking at some really tight and stacked groups. Group C, I'm trying to imagine any of those teams getting knocked out. Space Station and Ninjas, which I think are the two probably underdog teams in that bracket, they've had really good performances recently. Space Station maybe not online but on LAN, and NIP doing really well online recently. And obviously Evil Genius is top of their game at Milan, even though they couldn't get the victory over Empire. So that's a really stacked group in my eyes. Group D, now, even forget about Force. Forget if Force is a really strong underdog that we're underestimating. Yeah, sure, I get that. But even putting them aside, FaZe, Fnatic, Dark Zero, that's the number one in APAC for quite a considerable time in Fnatic. One of the number ones in Latin America for quite some time, FaZe, and the number one in North America right now. That's a stacked group if I've ever seen one. And then Force, a Challenger League European team that has taken it to even the best in Europe with their matches against Empire. Group D is the group of death.
See, the thing is, though, like, thankfully, one of the wonderful people in the chat, the Shady Mexican, actually pointed out that an interesting fact that Shangri, who was the player that played for Forza during the major qualifiers, wouldn't actually be coming around. Then he won't be present during the Raleigh Major, and he will be replaced by Pasha, who will be replacing him as a core. And so Shangri will still be their coach, but he won't be attending the rally as well. So this is gonna hurt Forza's performance as well on the major quite well, a decent bit, I think.
So let's say that Forza don't make it through. Who else isn't going to make it through? FaZe, Fnatic, and Dark Zero. Those are 3 really good teams. It's hard to imagine any of those not making it through.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I'm tempted to say that Dark Zero might get knocked out. I definitely could be seeing Forza potentially get knocked out, just because, well, if they lost one of their star players, that's gonna hurt a whole lot. And IPEG, honestly, I could see both of them really get knocked out. Like,
really? You reckon EG could get knocked out?
I definitely do, yeah.
I reckon that'd be a huge upset. I reckon that'd be one of the biggest upsets of the tournament especially if we saw so many North American teams go out in the group stage, because this is a North American event. And I feel like it's that opportunity for North American revenge, because how many times have we had an NA team versus an EU team in the grand final, and the EU team wins? This has got to be the revenge trip for the American teams, surely.
Well, you'd want to have that kind of storyline.
Yeah, and like going back to Group D, which, Dev, you sort of phrased the question, FaZe, Fnatic, Dark Zero, who's got to go? This is sort of a bit of a flashback to the 6th Invitational, where we actually did see both Fnatic and FaZe in the same group. And we saw them verse up against each other in that winner match that we talked about, where you win your first game, and you verse the other person in your group that won that first game, and that was sort of the situation for FaZe and Fnatic. And last time that happened, it was a 2-1 for Fnatic, leading them into the quarterfinals. So if we're going off that logic, maybe we'll say Fnatic and Dark Zero making their way through.
Yeah, and that was...
it's been a long time, so who knows what could happen.
That was a really tight group as well at that event. And I think it was a real surprise to see Fnatic make it onto the stage first seed out of that group. It was FaZe, Fnatic, and Reciprocity who were the biggest contenders in that group. FaZe ended up getting knocked out. Reciprocity took their place and ended up making it to the semi-finals. So, yeah, Reciprocity aren't here this time, but FaZe and Fnatic, I guess, a little bit of a rematch on the cards, potentially. Hopefully, I'd love to see that one. I'm sure the Latin American fans want the revenge. I know us Aussie fans surely want to see Fnatic go out in the top spot straight onto the stage, which is what I know a lot of the people had predicted in the CGG predictions, which we'll get to a little bit later. But I've got to ask it, guys. Who is? I know we did this last week, but who is? Okay. I was gonna say who is your favorite to win the tournament. But I feel like we said that one before. Which 2 teams at this event do you want to see play off against each other? Which will be the mega match that we are all waiting for? Name 2 teams.
Empire G2. I'll be absolutely honest, but that's because I just want to see the rematch from Invitational.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of depends. If I want a rematch from Invitational, then or like I feel like this isn't a rematch from the last Invitational, but G2 versus EG would be a pretty nostalgic matchup to see. That always tends to be a barn burner, and if both of those teams are playing at the level to where they can make the final, then that they're both in prime position to win that title. I can see that being a close one. But in terms of like who I'd love to see, I would really love to see one of the APAC teams make a final of a major event. I feel like it's been long enough, and it'd be cool to see one of them sort of break through the semis, which we have done before, and finally make our way into the finals. Whether that be Fnatic, Cyclops, or Nora, I'm happy either way. But let's get it done.
I feel like of the 3 APAC teams at this event, Norengo is probably the one who's least in form right now. They lost Walker after the Invitational as he retired. Yeah. He's a streamer now. And they looked pretty strong still, but they haven't been quite the same. They've had some rough matchups locally, and they're not even sitting at the top of the Japanese Pro League right now. Cyclops is. And Norenga also lost to Cloud9 at an event that was happening in Japan, just like a local tournament. So we've seen better times from Norenga. That said, I think that if I could see any rematch here, aside from Evil Genius's Team Empire, because that was such a good game in Milan, I want to see Norengo Team Empire rematch, because at Invitational, the semi-final Norengo versus Team Empire, when Nora took the first map and gave hell to the eventual second place team out of that event and the Pro League champions the following season, that was such a good performance from Norengo, and I want to see that Norengo back up, and I want to see them play against Team Empire. I think that could be a very close match.
All right. Yeah, I'd be keen to see that as well.
I feel like as Siege evolves, as it has, and the competition grows to what it is now, I feel like the level of sort of competition we have at this event is debatably some of the best that we've ever seen, and I feel like almost every team here like has an actual real chance to sort of pull something off and really make strides.
Yeah. I just really want to see an APAC team beat Empire, because I'm remembering Fnatic against Empire in Milan was a really good match too. So hopefully we'll get to see some killer matches. I mean, we don't even have to hope. We know it's going to happen. These events never disappoint us, so I'm sure that we're going to see it. So I thought that we should probably move on to our top pick. So each of us have chosen our favorite thing. Why don't you go take us through that, Sky?
Indeed. So for those of you that don't know, our top pick section is our sort of host catered section every single week. But myself, Cthulhu, and DevMarta will all pick one specific thing from the community that we thought was cool, whether that be through Reddit, Twitter, Rainbow6.com, heaps of different things, and we sort of showcase it to you guys. So the first clip, or I guess showcased content, is going to be from Cthulhu.
Yes, so I decided to pick this time is the gift that ESL Rainbow Six did with Rachel from Nora, doing one of the newest iterations of the potential new dances on the stage. So it's just Nora is just the whole gift just vibes off the whole energy that Nora just breathes. They're very emotional team, and like you can see when they're winning, when they're having fun, like they just get into that just mood. So, yeah. This one is just. It feels good.
I think I remember someone pointing out that the Norengo like cargo not cargo Americans will call them sweatpants. What do we call them? Tracky dacks. You know the track pants. That Norengo, like their team track pants, are they say super relaxed boys on the side, which is of course that meme from Kazoku. I also saw a photo of Kazoku's face on a poster, which was on like a street lamp.
I saw.
How good is that? Norengo everywhere. Yeah, Norengo are definitely the like if we had a award for like best team with the best memes, I feel like Norengo would steal that.
Oh yeah, Norengo will take that any day.
Honestly, completely forgot about the Norengo dancing. Like, it's been too long. I can't wait to get back into it. Like, I feel like honestly that's a big part, like the community and sort of culture, if you will, of these Rainbow Six events is always amazing to see. My top host pick of the week is actually going to be a tweet from Ubisoft, which I thought was pretty funny. For those guys that don't know, there's sort of this cat meme going around, and this was replying. I think this was replying to the cat charm that Cthulhu showcased earlier, and it was the social media manager with the meme where it's like, my manager's telling me not to reply to this cat meme. Me, the social media guy's going to do it anyway. So I thought that was cool, but yeah.
Speaking of memes, I feel like we have a common theme so far with the host picks this week. We like memes.
I mean,
memes are good.
Good for your health.
Good for your life. Yeah, good for your health. Good for your life.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen this one going around, and yeah, I'm pretty sure I've already done the cat challenge. So, yeah.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Flexing already.
Mate, I'm obsessed with challenges. Give me like a little bar with like a progress thing where I have to like get 10 headshots, and I'm gonna, unless if it's like 60,000 headshots in Showdown, I'll do my darndest, but sometimes it's a bit hard, you know.
Yeah.
Especially when you get warbanged.
Yeah, that makes it hard.
Moving forward, we've got Dev's host pick of the.
So my host pick, I just thought I'll keep talking about Raleigh. So for those who don't know Siege GG, what are you doing, guys? It's Siege GG. Siege GG is one of the biggest Rainbow Six centric news and stats providers and kind of news outlets as well. They're very big on Twitter. You also see them on Reddit and such. And they did this prediction thing. So one of their staff had predictions for basically what you're looking at is a graph which shows the 4 groups, A, B, C, and D, and then who all of these people believed would come first out of that group, and then people would believe would come second out of that group. And I thought it'd be a nice way to tie in from what we were saying earlier. Now, the big thing that stands out to me, there are some obvious ones. Obviously, EG is going through in almost every scenario. Same with Team Empire. But look at Norarengo and Fnatic. I think APAC has really stepped up and earned their spot through here. Like, look at how many people here think that Fnatic is going to come out over FaZe and Dark Zero. And Fours, mind you. And then look in Group A, almost every person has predicted that Norarengo is going to come out just under Team Empire.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how far we've come, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely an accomplishment, really. And just thinking back at when APEC was just introduced into Pro League and looking at now, it's quite a fair way that has been already completed.
Yeah, it's taken a long time for some of these teams to get the respect that they deserve, and I think that the thing that I've heard Dizzle from Fnatic say is that he actually doesn't want necessarily to be... He wants to be the underdog. He doesn't want teams to think that he's going to be a problem because he doesn't want them to study him. So I guess it works both ways, doesn't it? As you become a bigger player in the scene, of course, you also become a bigger target on your back. So yeah. I guess we'll see how it pans out. I'm rooting for Cyclops still. Me and Siege GG out there rooting for Cyclops. I hope they'll go through. I guess we'll have to see how they face off against G2 tonight. But that's all from us for this episode. It is T-minus 3.5 hours until Raleigh starts. I don't know how anyone in Australia is going to sleep tonight, but best of luck with it. But anyhow, guys, that's all from this week. This episode number 55. Obviously, stick around for Raleigh on the Rainbow Six and Rainbow Six Bravo channels. And, of course, we'll be back next Monday night at the same time, same place, 8 p.m. on this channel. And we'll be talking all about Raleigh because it'll be just finished. And so we'll have all the fresh news about the finals and, of course, the new operation, which will no doubt be announced then as well. So a lot of exciting stuff coming up next week. You can track it all here. If you're just tuning in now, you can go watch the VOD, or you can you can search us up on your favorite podcasting platform. We'll have the audio version up there within a few days. But without further ado, say goodnight and tune into Raleigh. See you guys.
See ya.
You should know.